Now the story of a wealthy family who lost everything, and the one son who had no choice but to keep them all together. It's Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, we chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling White Sand, the graphic novel, the prologue through chapter 6. So now, let's throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yep, once again, this is Cosmere Chronicles, and we are here now. And I'm Joe, and I'm here with Justin and Sheta.
Hello, we're also here.
Howdy.
Yep, we're here, and we're doing something. Well, for anybody who listened to our preview episode last week, you'll know that we're doing White Sand, which is going to be a comic instead of a normal, novel. And one little disclaimer I'll put out there: if there's anybody who decide just to pick up our podcast and decide to just say you just purchased White Sand, you read it, you want to hear us talking about it. Disclaimer is, with the way our podcast goes, we will mention or bring up anything that we have read previous. So, don't know when, don't know if, but stuff like Elantris, the Mistborn trilogy, Warbreaker, all that is free game. We will talk about it. So if you haven't read that, you might get spoiled.
I'm going to spoil everything.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I just can't believe Kelsier died. That's crazy, man.
Justin! I was just kidding.
Huh? Oh, shit. Well, it was just crazy when Wraithen died. I couldn't believe that.
Sheta,
My biggest one is...
I just put a disclaimer saying we were going to spoil stuff. If people did not exit out it, that's
maybe they
fault.
couldn't do it yet. Maybe like, oh shoot, and they're getting ready to they're driving and they gotta pause and they don't want to mess with their phones right now. And we just
you can cut that. That was just a joke. I didn't really want that in there that much.
No, it's staying in. But yeah. So let's go into let's start off with our random questions of the week. We'll start off with something a little bit more positive. What are some of your favorite comic book runs by a writer? And we'll go Marvel or DC because those are the ones where you get more turnover in the series instead of something where somebody does it from beginning to end.
You can't just say some of. I need a number.
All right, we'll do 3.
3.
Wait, 3? I only had 1 prepared.
You can come up with 2 more.
Oh my gosh. So you have me, even though I was prepared, not prepared anymore. Okay, give me... Yeah. Okay, I got it.
You got it? I'm still thinking.
Well, this is going to be a very... the role just right off the top of my head, so...
All right, and they are?
Scott Snyder's Batman run. That's probably my most recent one that I like. Okay. I just thought it was really fun and a good adrenaline shot to the comic world, or the DC Comics world. We really needed something like that, and it just came in like rock stars. I like that.
Gave us something actually good to look forward to during New 52.
Right. Yeah, and then I also really like Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run. It's just a classic one, I think, and very unique. So I think that one was really fun. And then probably my ultimate favorite is Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. I think if you aren't familiar with comics, I just would recommend that one because it's very palatable and easy to read and kind of takes you through the DC universe in a easy to follow way, and you learn a lot of stuff about characters and the world and stuff.
Yeah, I like Jeff Johns.
I am going to go with Jeff Johns' JSA run. I would count both of them, specifically his second run, but I count it as all one long run, so I'll go with that.
How long was the break in between the two?
Not very long. It was retitled. One was JSA, and then one was Justice Society of America. So it was kind of more of a relaunch, but yeah.
I think I only read the second one.
Oh, the first one's really fun too. First one's a little more of a normal superhero comic. Then I'm going to go with Roy Thomas's All-Star Squadron run, which is one of my favorite comics of all time, where you go back to World War II and follow a lot of those, characters that those later ones originated from back then. Pretty much every superhero who was active at the time, including ones DC had acquired, later on, like Plastic Man and Freedom Fighters. And
Did you
then
use Captain Marvel?
Yep. No, not in there. Captain Marvel's continuity was kind of messy at that time, as it pretty much always is in DC.
That's the curse for the sin that they caused.
Yeah, the sin of suing them into oblivion. Yeah.
Yeah. That character is cursed.
Yeah, basically for DC. And then it's tough. Run sounds like the wrong word for this since he made up the whole thing, but I'm going with Jack Kirby's Fourth World and New Gods run. All those comics are some of my favorites. That big epic story. So yeah, that's the three that come to my head.
And that's where you also get the thing, if people don't know, is the funny trivia that Darkside's first appearance was in an issue of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
They're doing a Jimmy Olsen show, and I'm really hoping they'll do a stealth first appearance in this new DCU by Darkside in it. I think that would be so
that's
funny.
That's a good idea.
Because Justin got the Fourth World omnibuses, so picking that up, reading it, and like the first bunch of issues are just some Jimmy Olsen stories, but
yeah,
they're there because it's Jack Kirby, and you get some stuff like Newsboy Legion and.
Well, when he came to DC, he was required to write at least one of their established titles instead of just making up his own. So he said, "Give me your lowest selling title," and that's how he got on Jimmy Olsen.
Yep. All right. So for me, 3 runs. I guess I will go with same thing as Sheta. I'm also going to do the Jeff Johns Green Lantern.
Woohoo.
Before I read that, I didn't really care much about Green Lantern. Then I read it, and it made me like Green Lantern a lot. And
yeah.
So much is the stuff that people think about. If they think of Green Lantern now, so much stuff was introduced there. All the different cores, besides the Green Lantern core and the Sinestro core, was all from Jeff Johns. Parallax being an entity was Jeff Johns. And
yeah, it's crazy how much he added to the lore of that character.
And especially because he came in, he had to first find some way to bring Hal Jordan back, and then he does all this. And the sister comic going at the same time, Green Lantern Corps, that one was also really good. I remember when I was reading through it, going through both series, and both of them then lead into Sinestro Corps War. That was awesome. And then reading both of them up into like Blackest Night, and then after that, it's also great.
Yeah, good times. It's crazy that something like that iconic is a little more modern than like only 80s, That's, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's more modern, but at the same time, it is 20 years ago now.
Yeah, at this point, that's almost basically a vintage comic now.
Are we old? I'm just kidding.
No, never.
Because think about it, that would be like, at the time that those comics were coming out, like when you were first reading that, 20 years before that would be when Spider-Man first got his like symbiote costume. And at that time, that felt really old.
Yeah.
Well, I know what you're saying, Sheta, because it is sadly relatively rare for like these big legendary runs to be in the modern day. You think of them as all these older things, right?
Yeah.
Like Stan Lee on Fantastic Four, or,
Yeah. It's weird that something sticks and adds so much to the world and the characters that that it just becomes like public knowledge for people.
Yeah, when it transcends out to where everyone knows it, yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly, if you gave me every decade and asked me to name as many like legendary runs as I could, the closer you get to the modern day, the harder it is, sadly.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help the fact that every comic is just 12 issues now, and then they reboot it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, yeah, that's terrible. All right, and then, my other favorite ones, I'll go with the Dan Slott's Spider-Man run. That one I thought, from the time where he was one of the people all working together during Brand New Day, because you'd have like one writer for a couple issues, another writer for a couple issues, so it kept rotating. He was one of those. From that point, and then starting with Big Time, he became the sole writer, and he then wrote it for like 150 issues, something like that. And Yeah, and like some of the stuff like his writing of, the whole like 100 issues building up like Dr. Octopus's storyline from 600 to 700, leading into Superior Spider-Man, which was a comic where from the outside you read the plot, it's like, this sounds stupid. When you read the actual comic, this is amazing. Yep, and then my last one will be, I'll go with Kurt Busiek's Thunderbolts run. He was the first one that wrote Thunderbolts, and for anybody who's seen the movie, it's not that. It's nothing like that movie. That movie had 0 Thunderbolts in it. But his writing of that comic is from issue 1 through 50 was great. And Kurt Busiek, he's a writer where he brings in a lot of the stuff from the past that's kind of dropped. There's some X-Men storyline from the 70s that was dropped and never solved. He brings that in and solves it in Thunderbolts. There was one random character that was given that where a person won a create a comic character contest. So this character was supposed to appear in an issue, but then never did. So he had that one character randomly appear in an issue. Just so much stuff's all going into that Thunderbolts. If you've never read it, read the original Thunderbolts 1 through 50 plus other stuff. All right. Well, we were positive there, so now let's go negative. Time to go with what do you think is an overrated live action movie?
You're gonna get me killed, Joe.
So why didn't you start with the negative and then we can end on a positive note?
Because
Now
this has
I feel
been the
bad.
way I've been doing it for the last few weeks.
You just want people to hate us.
I'm about to be actually killed.
Oh, I want to hear.
My overrated live action movie. I think it's a very good movie. I give it an A+. It's a good, well-made, well-written, good movie. But I am tired of hearing everyone say it's the greatest superhero movie of all time. I'm sorry it's not. That would be Logan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people out there. I know that's one of the most beloved Marvel movies ever made. I think it's very good, but it's not even remotely as close as everyone is out there seems to love that thing.
Yeah,
I
liked
know what
it.
you're saying.
I didn't think it was anything special. I thought it was good.
Joe, you're going to be crucified with me then. That movie is held up as one. I think Days of Futures Past is a better X-Men movie, and X-Men 2. I think those ones are better if I had to rank them all. But man, a lot of people treat that movie like it is the holy goddamn grail.
There were a lot of outside factors I felt like that made people feel the sentimentality.
Well, I also think if you're not a huge comic person, that is a pretty epic story. You've never seen something like that before.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read a lot of comics, you've seen that 500 million times,
No, I agree with you. I feel like for superhero movies, it's all right. Okay. So I had 2 written down, and then I was like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. And then I kind of did some research, like, what are some overrated live action movies? And basically all my favorite movies popped up, and it just made me mad. Like
So
Avatar.
you just like all the popular movies, Sheta?
Avatar, Star Wars, Titanic, Space Odyssey, Endgame. And I was like, whoa, what? These are all my favorite movies. Like Dark Knight is on here too. And I was like, oh my gosh, Inception.
Pretty much anything
I just got
popular,
off
yeah.
there. Right. And I was like, they're not overrated. They're good. That's why they're popular. This is just
one man's good is another man's heavily overrated.
I think that the term overrated is invented by people.
I'll let you know, Sheta, when I go see Avatar and I see what the crowds are like, I'm like, come on, it's not that good. So I just have to say,
I think they are mistaken by the word having it be popular. This is like
I think Titanic's great, but release it every 5 years again, I don't know about that.
I will see it every 5 years.
Oh, it's better than I remember when I was looking up some overrated lists. Some people are like, I put Terminator Genesis as overrated. I'm just there like, everyone hates that movie.
Yeah, no, that movie isn't even rated. That movie is god awful. All right, what do you got then, Sheta?
All right. So probably the most recent movie that I watched that I felt was overrated was Wicked.
Sheta.
Yeah. I just thought it was all right. I think it really, but then we are at such a drought of having anything good come out that people are like, oh, thank goodness, something that seems like a movie. And
Something somebody gave a shit about when they were making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine movie, but
I still haven't seen it. I've been waiting for part 2 and then just watch it as one big epic movie.
yeah, I think that would be better.
One big epic overrated movie, apparently.
I just really expected to have a new thing to really like, and I always wanted to have watched the play, but I never got to. But just seeing clips of the play was better than the movie, in my opinion. So just yeah. And then I'll throw another one out there.
I preferred the Old Man Logan comic. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, there were two movies I thought of that's like, all right, these are ones that I'm not a fan of. And there was another one there's a third movie that I am a fan of, but I think it's overrated. So for the movies I don't like, one of them, Napoleon Dynamite. It may be because that came out when we were in high school, and then everybody was talking about it. It's like, oh my god, this movie's amazing, it's great, yada yada. I try to watch it, it's just like, I just don't like it. I hate this movie. And then everyone was talking about it like it's the greatest thing ever.
I also never got it. That movie didn't make sense to me, but I know Sheta's a huge fan.
You either get it or you don't. And when you get it, you're like, finally, someone's speaking my language.
That's your language?
You're like, someone understands me. I'm stupid. And you're like no, I think it's a specific kind of sense of humor. And if it's not your thing, then you won't get it.
But it's like,
you won't like it.
At the time, I really felt like I was the only person in our school that did not like the movie. I remember people were making a big deal, like, I guess at like some talent show thing or something, one kid did the entire dance from the thing, and then on like the school news, they showed the entire thing, and everyone's like, oh my god. I'm just there like, okay.
You don't get it. We were in Napoleon Dynamite when that was happening. It was like a meta show.
All right,
I thought he did a good job.
My other one would be Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan, but things that people always say is, yeah, the only good Adam Sandler are like the old ones, like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. Like they'll always say those ones are good, the rest get bad, and I'm just here like, I don't like those ones either. I like Big Daddy, but Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, yeah, I don't like those.
I've never seen Happy Gilmore.
Same.
And Billy Madison, I think I saw when I was, 10? I'm very
Billy
young.
Madison was one of my favorite movies growing up. So
I'll be a defender of Little Nicky. The rest of them you can take.
51st Dates, that's my favorite.
Oh yeah, that one's not bad.
I remember we saw Click in the theater, and we're watching
Oh,
Click,
God.
and we're like, oh, and it's like, okay, and then it's like, I was enjoying part of it, then it's like, I'm getting kind of bored, and it's like, all right, now I'm
movie
interested.
goes downhill fast.
And then I get interested again, and then the end of the movie is just like, oh, never mind, none of that happened. It's like, oh,
Really? The Grim Reaper gave him a remote that would let him fast forward. What kind of stupid ass plot is this?
well, that was good, but he should have just died at the end and be like, don't fuck up. That's the moral of the story. And then one movie that I feel that I like, but I do feel is overrated. Justin brought up earlier, Avatar. I think it's a decent movie. I don't think it's as good as people seem to make, especially when that movie came out. People are like, "Oh my god, greatest movie ever." And it's like it's Dances with Wolves in space.
I think there are some stories that really resonate with the human race. And if someone, James Cameron, can tap into that, they will make $1 billion.
Apparently so, because he did it twice. We'll see if he can go for the hat trick.
All right. Okay, we've spent probably a bit too long talking about these random questions, but we talked about comic books earlier, so let's bring that back to talking about this comic book, White Sand. We read the prologue through chapter 6, which is pretty much, since I said before, it was released in 3 volumes. That's pretty much volume 1. So I'll ask you two, how are you guys feeling about these comics so far?
The art was better than I expected going in. I thought it was going to be your basic, toss whatever random garbage on it art.
Oh, yeah.
The guy, I think it was a different guy in the prologue, but They had the ability to draw, which I'm not used to in projects like this.
We've seen some bad
whenever-
comic art.
Especially, like, I know this is only kind of licensed because it was based on something he wrote, correct?
Yeah. It was based
Yeah.
off a novel that Brandon Sanderson wrote, and then the script then was adapted by Rick Hoskin.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I'm
Isaac
really
Stewart
used to
did the script for the prologue.
Whenever I see things that are kind of like, tied to another franchise, they do not put artists. They sometimes grab the lowest of the low they can for art. So that was my expectation. Some like inside of like your shittiest Dynamite comic art was what I was expecting. So, ugh.
I was thinking like Convergence filler artist art. Like,
Oh, not that low, Sheta.
that's
Jesus.
the worst I've ever seen. Like, come on, that's not
No,
even a
it's
face. Like,
it's some of those countdown artists, those weekly ones. Some of those are terrible.
ugh.
Well, Countdown was just a bad
Countdown's
comic.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I did like Mary Marvel's storyline in it.
There are some parts I like about almost everyone's storyline in there, but if you take all of their storylines as one piece, like, every now and then you'd get a decent writer, but if you take the whole things, they're just garbage, and they do not count down to Final Crisis, god damn it. That's what drives me nuts.
Well, they threw that name on there, like, midway through
Yeah,
the
but
series.
they had arcs they knew. They knew Grant Morrison was going to be having Mary Marvel be corrupted in Final Crisis, so they thought, let's show her become corrupted. But let's not use any inspiration from what she's like at the beginning of that comic or how she became corrupted. Let's just make up some random other story instead.
All right, and if you guys want to know, for the prologue, art was done by Nebetsi Zitro. I could be very wrong on that, but that's Nebetsi Zitro. The art for chapters 1 through 6 is Julius Gopez. Yep. And then colors for the prologue, Nabis Zitro and Salvatore Ayala Studios. And the colors for chapters 1 through 6 is Ross A. Campbell.
Oh, yeah, Ross A. Campbell. Yeah, I don't know any colorists. That means nothing to me.
Well, my point was just showing that the colorist for the prologue is still different than the normal chapters. And there's a good chance, since I decided to read that stuff right now, as you could tell, I was stumbling over some of those names, and I probably butchered some of them because I did not practice. And I did not look up to see if any of those artists have drawn anything else that I'd recognize. Oh, Sheta, did you give your thoughts on what you felt on the prologue through 6?
Oh yeah, it was really fun to see. This is kind of our first real visual look at a Brandon Sanderson work. So it was really fun to see how he kind of imagines it to look, because I'm like, was he consulted, or I don't know. He probably gave him notes and stuff about how it looked and stuff like that. So it was fun to get to see how the powers worked and how the world would look from ground up, and the characters and how they would be designed. Like, yeah, it was just fun to see. His stuff is really visual, so it was nice to finally see a visual thing, besides the wonderful covers, of course.
All right. Well, let's get into the chapters then. So we start off with the prologue, where, as I said last week, the prologue was added for the omnibus. So this is something new. And the title of the prologue is Connections. And the first thing we get, because we get it throughout the entire book, are these like pages from a journal. And it's pretty much the Ars Arcanum for this book. There are all these little things that explain stuff. So this first Ars Arcanum, it explains the planet, which is called Taldain, and how it works. There's like 2 stars in the system. And so the planet, as it's going around, it's always facing, the same side's always facing the main star in the middle. And then the smaller star doesn't really give much light, but like power to the planet. So that one's also rotating around the big star. And so you have so what you get is a planet with like a dark side and a Dayside on it. And we also see that the dark side, that one faces that smaller star. And that timekeeping is different on Dayside and Darkside. Like, I think they said like an hour is like 96 minutes to to 60 minutes, like, difference or something like that. And then the Ars Arcanum also explains the monetary system on Dayside. I don't really think we need to get into what the different colors of the money means, because, yeah, that's just getting to the nitty-gritty. Alright, so then the actual chapter begins, and we meet Duchess Khrissalla and Bayonne. Khrissalla is a duchess from the country Elis, and Bayonne has been hired to protect her. It is day 29 on their voyage from Dayside to Darkside, and they are currently going through a storm, and it's a storm around the entire planet that separates the two sides of the planet. After they get onto Dayside, Khrissalla tries to open a window, but it's way too bright outside. So pretty much everyone that's from Darkside, they wind up wearing sunglasses while in Dayside.
I like the excuse for characters to have to always look badass wearing shades.
I know. Coming out looking like Matrix characters, like...
I wouldn't say that. Maybe Matrix if they were all like Born-a-Bit-Gins wearing full white, but...
Yep, and another thing throughout this way we learned too is that Dayside not only is always facing the sun, that does mean that it never gets night out. It never gets dark out, so their night, it's still light outside. Alright. And with them on their journey, on their voyage, are two guys called Alstrin Cinder and John Akron. Cinder is a language professor, and Akron is an anthropologist. And Bayonne is from Liaria, which is the capital of the Dynasty, which is like this big empire there. And but he had joined the Elysian army, even though the Dynasty prohibits crossing borders. God, my notes are going to be, I feel, not as good doing this for a comic as they were for an actual book. It was so weird writing notes for this.
Well, for me, usually I'm pretty bad with names, but for this, like I'll remember anyone's name since I'm not reading it 100 times like I am in a book. I remember Bayonne, and that is literally it. I could not tell you another character's name, so get ready for Sun Hat Sunglasses Girl or Connor Hawk wannabe guy or stuff like that.
Connor Hawk.
That's what I thought the whole comic. He looks just like Connor Hawk if you put a domino mask on him.
I thought that too, though.
Well, their names I can remember. It's then like the side characters like Cinder and Akron and stuff. I'm having to really focus to try to remember their names.
Yeah, and forget about all their titles and stuff like that.
I think Cinder was the one with the mustache and Akron was the bald one.
Well, there you go. That's how I'll refer to them from now on then.
I think it's switched, isn't it?
Yeah, just confuse people listening even more. Good
Akron
luck following this podcast.
Yeah, Sheta's right. They're switched. Akron has the mustache and Cinder is bald.
Wow, good job, Sheta.
All right. And so, yeah, then Khrissalla notices that some of the men have pistols. And pistols are a Darkside invention, and that people on Dayside, they don't have them. So the men here, they're going to have to hide them as they carry.
I find it so funny, the idea that one side has developed pistols when another side has not. That sucks, It's fun to get to see that kind of stuff, like, back in real life when a country would come over and they've got firearms and the other people have never seen them. It's fun to see that emulated in a straight-up magical fantasy world. It's not just another continent where they've developed them, it's the other side of the fucking planet.
Yeah.
Yep, and Khrissalla's a little upset because she had told them not to bring them, but Bayonne had ignored her.
Yeah, are you crazy? I'd bring them.
And then Khrissalla reads a letter that she had received a while ago from Wilhelm. The letter tells her that her betrothed, Prince Gavaldin, had died. He had found sand mages in Lausanne and thought they might be able to throw off the stranglehold the Dynasty has over Elis. Bayonne comes over and he says that she keeps reading the letter when she thinks that no one is looking. And Khrissalla says that this letter is why she risked this journey. The Dynasty has not conquered her nation yet. And the Dynasty has an army of star-carved, but she might find people with similar powers on Dayside. Bayonne tells her that star-carved powers don't work on Dayside, so the same might be for the Sand Mages' powers on Darkside. And he also says that he doubts that these Sand Mages even exist at all. And then we jump forward 10 days later, and we meet Kenton and Traben, and they are Sand Masters. And they decide to race down a mountain sandboarding and using sand mastery as they go.
I could not believe when I was looking at this. I was like, what is this comic? They're surfing. I was like, is this his... it didn't turn out to be, but I'm like, is this his attempt at like a cool 90s fantasy world? Is that what we're going for?
No, he would have a backward baseball cap if that were the case.
Yeah, well, I heard some like generic music you'd put into that scene from the time.
Yeah, some like 90s rock music.
Yeah, like kid-friendly rock.
Yeah, kid friendly.
Like, yeah, let's go, some shit like that. I was like, what am I reading here?
Now,
Oh,
nowadays,
no.
anytime there's a movie that takes place in the 90s, especially the early 90s, the movie, at some point in it, you will always hear Come As You Are from Nirvana playing.
Oh,
Yeah, but
I
this
thought-
isn't nostalgia stuff. I thought it was the based in the time stuff.
I was thinking something more like Beastie Boys, not Nirvana.
Likely both.
The vibes were Beastie Boys.
We'll see in a few years once they go really, really hard on the 90s nostalgia.
All right. And also, I guess 90s nostalgia. There'll always be a scene in a blockbuster. There's always got to be a blockbuster.
Yes,
Because
there will be.
Because as everyone knows, that was the only video rental place in the entire country. There was no other place you could ever rent a video. It was only ever Blockbuster.
You know,
But,
you say that, but that's how I remember it. I know that's not true,
They
but that
got
is
you.
how I remember it still.
No way. We always did local video stores.
Yeah.
Justin,
Not
where we
in
lived,
one.
there was only one Blockbuster, and it wasn't really that close to us. It was kind of closer to you. You were probably closer to it.
That was my main video store, man.
For me, it was either local places or, like Hollywood Video would rent from there too and stuff. But there's only one Blockbuster, but there were a bunch more Hollywood Videos.
I don't think I've ever been to a Hollywood Video.
Yes, you have.
I know
I don't
you
think
have
so.
because we went there before together.
In my mind, that was a Blockbuster. I've already been nostalgiaed. They got me.
If you saw the logo again, you would be like, "Oh yeah, memory re-triggered."
All right, but back to Taldain. Yep. So and pretty much what sand mastery is, it's you have the white sand and you're bringing magic from it. You're using your own water in your body to create these ribbons of light and power from the sand.
So I think you said last time it is a Dune inspired thing. Is that what I was hearing there? Where the moisture in your body is such a huge resource to call upon.
Yeah. Brandon is a big Dune fan, and I know in the foreword in this book he was saying he was trying to make a sand planet, but he did not want it to just be Arrakis or Tatooine copycat. So he was trying to make different things on there.
Well, I still would have liked some sandworms.
We got sandlings.
You get sand monsters.
Crabs.
That's different. I want sandworms.
Justin loves sandworms.
Yeah, they're the best.
Any kind of sandworm.
And sand mastery, and after you use the sand, the leftover sand then turns black. All right, and so they're going down and they're creating ribbons of power. But Kenton, he can only control one ribbon. He's not able to make more. But he has so much more finesse with that single ribbon than others have with theirs. However, Traben, he controls 15 ribbons, and that gives him a lot more power. So since they're doing a race, that lets him win the race. And only being able to control a single ribbon is why Kenton's father, who is the leader of the Sandmasters, refuses to advance him to the highest rank, which is Mastral. And then Kenton tells Traben that he's going to run the Mastral's path as a way to force his father to acknowledge him. But Traben says that's a dumb idea. And Kenton also points out the Sandmasters are out of touch as a military force since they have not actually been at war for centuries. And then some goons named Yeadon and Morrill come over to pick on Kenton. And this is also where we learn that part of the reason that people pick on Kenton is also because he's half Darkside.
Oh, I couldn't tell. Is this a world where the people who live in the sun have a lighter complexion and the people who live away from the sun have a darker complexion? Because that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, that was throwing me off too, because I was really trying to remember.
I think it's so funny. The people in the desert are pale, and the people who don't get a lot of melanin in their skin have a much darker tone. I want to know if that will ever be explained or if it doesn't matter because it's a fantasy world with different rules.
I think they kind of hint at something that I want to guess.
Oh, what's that? You gotta guess. I want to hear it.
That they get their powers from wherever they're from and stuff. So like if it's not the same kind of thing with sun, like they don't get tan or they get like charged, like solar charged. So it's a different kind of
You
sun.
think they're light because they're glowing? Is that what you're saying?
No. I think that the sun doesn't affect them in the same ways and stuff. I think the like maybe darkness powers Darksiders and sun powers sun people, but so
they're darker because they have more shadows in them? Is that what you're saying?
it's magical shadows and magical sun. Like that's
Okay.
I'm
know. Sure that would go
I don't
over
wanna
really
keep any
well,
of that.
Sheta.
I know, just don't keep. What are you doing to me?
Nobody asked you to say that.
Why are you forcing me to think these things?
Also, I will point out that, it's just mainly the people in the country of low sand that have the lighter skin, because the people that are coming from the other country, Khrissalla, they have darker skin too, or more tannish. Yeah.
Yeah, are they from Dayside?
Oh, I'm not talking about tannish. I'm talking about the people who are specifically like in our world African descent compared to those people who are specifically more European descent.
Yeah, it's darker. I'm looking at like the later characters like eyes and this Lotan. It's mostly low sand that it looks like have lighter skin.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the story.
Yeah,
all right,
I'm all dyslexic about it.
It's the beginning of a story. All these names. That's a lot in there.
Yeah, Hosan and Glosan and Aishla and blah, blah, blah. No idea what's going on when you're saying that stuff.
I'm trying my best to keep up. Yeah.
All right, and so then Eden challenges Kenton in a game of Zoken, which is pretty much just like trap shoot, or not like clay pigeon shooting. And so they're getting ready, and Eden can control 9 ribbons. So he's like, yeah, shoot out 9 targets. I'll get them. Kenton's just like, oh, you're really only gonna do 9, 1 for each one. That's not a challenge. Fine, 10. And so 10 targets are shot out, and he destroys them all with his ribbons. And then Kenton decides to take his 25 coins that he has, and he tells Eden that he can have whichever of his coins survive. And so then all 25 coins get shot out, and Kenton destroys all of them with just his single ribbon.
This made me immediately not like him because he was wasting money.
Right, those are made from precious stones. And I was like, why would you break them? Like, now you just shattered like these ruby or, semi-precious stones. Will piss me off.
And then another man named Dryle arrives, and he begins picking on Kenton. Pretty much the 2 other people from earlier, Eden and Moral, were kind of Dryle's toadies, or whatever you want to call them.
Toadies, not the word I would have picked, but I'll take it.
You just made that up.
Have you never heard the word toady before?
No.
I've legit never heard it before.
Have you ever watched A Christmas Story? It gets used in there.
Never seen it.
Which version?
What do you...
No, you're thinking of A Christmas Carol, Sheta.
Oh, yeah.
There's one version of A Christmas Story. Every year at Christmas, it's like TBS or TNT will air it for 24 hours straight. All right. And Dryle has just returned from a journey, and he says that change is coming. And Dryle hopes that Kenton dies during his Masteral Path run.
Jesus Christ.
And I also say Dryle kind of has a stupid haircut.
What? His hair is awesome.
Yeah, it makes him so much more memorable.
Yeah, especially in a comic, you need something to help you stand out.
Everyone needs more weird stuff on them.
It's not really weird. It's the super modern style with like long hair on one side, the other side just bald.
Dude, that style is not... Nobody has that style except that one like DJ guy. Like, nobody wears that.
All right. And and now we're back to Khrissalla, and it's day 39 of our journey, and they have arrived at a Dayside port. And then Cinder tries to talk to some people, but it's not working. People seem to understand what he's saying, but then they run off. And Akron manages to find a shop where the owner is able to talk in their language, Dynastic. And he says that he sees, and the owner says that he sees Darksiders coming to town after escaping the Dynasty. And then he gives them his nephew, Dazk, to act as a guide for them. And they're going through the city some more, and they find a priest. And Khrissalla recognizes him saying the phrase, "May the Sand Lord bless us." And Akron recognizes the language the man is speaking, and so he tries to talk to the priest, but it doesn't go well. The priest gets angry and stuff. And it turns out that Akron had learned the language of the clergy, so it's useless to them in normal circumstances.
That was the funniest part. So why are you even here?
They seem like a bunch of clowns, yeah.
Yeah, these people are hilarious. They all seem like idiots. I know they're not, but they seem that way based on just wandering in like this.
And that's the end of the prologue. Anything else you two want to go over with this prologue?
Not me.
All right. Well, we'll go on to chapter 1, which is called Relentless. And first we have another Ars Arcanum. And it's talking about how the overall name of the group of the Sandmasters is called the Diem. And that's also the name of like their building where they stay at. And we also get a list of the rankings for Sandmasters. It goes under Fen, Fen, Diem Fen, under Lestral, Lestral, under Mastral, and then Mastral the highest. And the people who are still just trainees are called Acolytes. And each rank of the Sandmasters also has a different color ribbon, sash thing that they wear. But that thing's not... we don't need to go through what all the colors are. Mastral's gold, that's all that matters. And so the Acolytes, they wear white. And, pretty much what happens is they're offered a rank when the, top people can see that looks like they cannot become more powerful than they are. And when you accept a rank, that's your rank. You're not able to go up or down after that.
That's so frustrating to me. I don't know why.
It makes you seem very stuck with where you're at, and there's no progress. No
well,
anime
I think it's
art.
funny, too. You can accept it. You can be like, no, I'm going to try for a higher one.
Yeah. That's what
actually,
does.
Maybe that's smart, because then you stop yourself from getting... What's the rule where everyone's going to be promoted to their level of incompetence because they'll be promoted one time too many and never go higher? Maybe that's a good way to fight against that.
That's true.
And then we learn that most of the land on the Dayside, it's all sand, like a desert. But it's not technically a desert, because, and most of the plants, they actually grow underground. And there are also creatures that are called sandlings, which they eat and survive on sand. And they also bleed gas. And if you pour water on these little sandlings, which are kind of crab sort of things, roaches sort of things, if you pour water on them, then it melts their carapace. All right, and now we start chapter 1, where in the original release of this is where since there was no prologue, this is where the comic started. All right.
So did the prologue just exist to explain how useless their linguistic expert was?
After reading the prologue, it is kind of a weird thing to include.
I guess I really liked Kenton and Triben hanging out and eating ramen together. I think that was fun. That's in the prologue, right?
Were they eating ramen?
It felt like a Naruto scene a little bit. Like, I'll buy you lunch, It was kind of cozy. Because we don't really get any downtime moments like that after. So, after they get all killed.
All right. Well, all right. So chapter begins, and we're with Kenton, and he's talking to his father, the Lord Mastral. And his father does not want him to do the Mastral's path. In the past, Kenton had turned down advancement 4 times to the lowest rank. And this time, his father offers him the second lowest rank. But Kenton denies it, because he cannot bring change unless he is a Mastral. His father says that he will never make him a Mastral, even if Kenton goes out and finds all 5 spheres. And then Kenton asks Under Mastral Eloran to sponsor him to do the run. Eloran has been like a mentor to Kenton. And the Mastral's path is a dangerous course, where Kenton will need to go through it to find 5 hidden orbs within an hour, while only having 1 Quiddo, which is pretty much a canteen, of water.
And
Kenton
I have to
begins his-
say, why can't you just call it a canteen? I've had so many random words being thrown at me of made up shit. You don't need to make them up for things that actually exist. That drives me crazy. I can barely follow the names so far.
It is a lot of mental weight on me because I really want to know everything. And so now I have to have a little pocket in my brain to remember what that would be called. So
The reason that works in a book is because a sentence would say, yes, his kiddo that is filled with water, or that he takes around. But in a comic, I just have to look at it. And I'm not always paying the most attention to every single thing on the panel. So it's very funny to me when they have a part where they have like 3 made up words in one sentence. I'm like, I barely know what was just said to me.
So, as Kenton begins the run, he thinks back to when he had first joined the Sandmaster. We get a little flashback scene, and many boys and girls were being tested to see how much power they have. So pretty much they're holding like some sand in their hand and trying to make power come from it. We see Traben, and he had a little bit of power coming from it. But then Dryle just has a ridiculous amount coming out. And then Kenton was the next one to go. And he was the last chance for his father. All of Kenton's older brothers had failed, and it was said that it was because they are half Darkside. Kenton goes, and there's a tiny, tiny amount of power that comes out. And so people are like, well, he failed. But he says that, he showed a tiny amount of power. That means that they must take him. And then he says that he will become a Mastrel. And his father reluctantly takes him in. And now that Sheta brought up the Naruto thing, that's all it feels like now is just Naruto.
sorry.
I can totally see it, man. This one, maybe it's just because it's a comic, but it feels, about a young guy, it feels the most anime of all of these I've read.
I'm going to become Mastrel. I'm going to become the Hokage. Oh, there's Dryle, or should we call him Sasuke?
No, do not insult Sasuke by comparing him to Dryle. Come on. Sasuke is a little badass with his own personal
get a little
mission
bit
and
of
arc.
Sasuke.
Dryle is a little pansy pussy bitch who's whining all the time.
He is not. He's just trying to do what he thinks is best for the DM and stuff. I think he's
that's
gonna
not
come
how
back.
I read the character shit.
I think he's gonna come back as an anti-hero best friend character.
You
for
really
sure.
think they're doing a standard anime arc with this, huh?
I think so.
All right, we'll see.
Because he's not straight up bad and stuff, He's just kind of an
If
asshole.
you say so.
That's a classic like Bakugo type, rival turned kind of friend kind of thing. I think that's the vibes I'm getting.
All right, we'll see.
So Sheta, you're saying classic like rival character friend, well, completely, and using Bakugo, not the Sasuke name I just threw out.
Yeah,
but Bakugo's more of an asshole, so he would count better because Dryle
I don't think Sasuke
is an asshole.
Yeah, that's why.
Did we read the same Sasuke?
Sasuke is a cool, collected guy who's got problems. Bakugo is screaming all the time.
Yeah, I did have I know everyone else loved him. I had a hard time liking Bakugo for so long.
Oh no, he's great. I like him a lot.
All right. All right, so Kenton's doing his run. He has found 2 spheres already. And he gets to the end of a cliff, and he has to jump off of it. And normally, people would just use a bunch of ribbons to go across, but since he only has 1, he has to skillfully use 1 ribbon to slow his descent. And he gets to another cliff, and he uses the ribbons to physically climb up the cliff. And the Mastrels that are watching are questioning what he is doing, since most Sandmasters should flow and dance through the air with their multiple ribbons. But while he's climbing up, Kenton finds another sphere that he thinks he would have missed otherwise. And Kenton, right now, he's already getting low on water. And they notice some black spots in the sand where power had been used recently, and he puts together that must mean that there's a sphere hidden there. And he goes and he finds the 4th sphere. And now Kenton's getting very thirsty, his eyes are getting dry, and so he drinks the very last of his water. And then he sees the 5th sphere just in the middle of a large open area, and he questions why it just seems so easy. And he notices that it's in the middle of what's called deep sand, which has like no plants or anything, and so he goes out there to grab it, and right when he grabs it, a gigantic sandling comes out and attacks. Kenton cannot do damage to the sandling, and he has no water left to melt the carapace. And then we see Elorin, and he's pleading for Kenton to ask for help, but Kenton refuses, because if he asks for help, then that means his run will end in failure. And then Elorin asks the Lord Master to help Kenton, but he says that Kenton must request help. They can't just go out and help him. As he is fighting, Kenton is surprised to find a 6th sphere that's stuck on the bottom of the sandling. He grabs it because he knows that even if he grabbed all 5 spheres, that will not be enough for his father. And then Kenton jumps in the back of the sandling, and he cuts into the carapace with a sword. Gas spews out of it, and it blows Kenton into the air. And he uses that opening to send one of his ribbons into the cut he just made, and it just drives it through the sandling and kills it. And the Mastrals are surprised to see Kenton succeed with 6 spheres. And then we jump back over to Khrissalla, and she's on day 43 of her journey. And they are starting to run low on water as they travel through the desert. Dask isn't very helpful, since the only dynastic word he seems to know is ahoy. Khrissalla had hoped to find water at the towns they'd gone through, but they have gotten no water there. And Khrissalla asks
And
Dask
they
for
seem
water.
so poorly prepared for this whole thing. It's almost funny to imagine them just wandering until they die horribly, even though they had lots of water at their disposal if they just knew about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Khrissalla asks Dask, where to get some water. And he takes it and he's about to pour some water onto the sand before she stops him, like, no, what the fuck are you doing? We need that. And then they arrive at a town, and Bayonne notices that some of the people there have pneumatic crossbows that are strapped to their arms, which he feels like they should not have that sort of technology. And they also notice that there are people guarding something, which they figure, that's got to be water. Khrissalla notices that Bayonne has stopped wearing his sunglasses, and he says that they are a disadvantage and suggests that she does the same. And he also says that they should leave the soldiers behind, because that way, with less people, they can ration the water and everyone will survive.
With where this goes, that's one of the most interesting plot lines in this. Because when he says that, you are like her, like, how heartless, but things go so south with those assholes. It's really interesting to have a character who's talking so pragmatically and darkly and be the correct good guy in this situation. Usually stories aren't willing to do that.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that as come up a couple times as the theme for later too.
Yeah, Bayonne's just very blunt.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bayonne suggests that Flenid and Torth, the 2 soldiers they have with them, may betray them when it comes to survival. And then Khrissalla, tells Dask to bring her to some stone formations on the map, because she figures that there should be water by this stones area. And that's the end of chapter 1.
What a happy ending.
All right. Anything else in this chapter you 2 want to go over?
No, I love desert stories, so I really like it.
You do?
I do. I love their survival aspect and the conserving of water aspect.
It's really interesting to see these characters drawn out like this. They all look a lot more over the top and extreme in their outfits and designs than I would usually imagine them while reading. Do we know who designed the characters specifically and how much input Brandon Sanderson even had or cared about that? Because he doesn't really explain the look of the characters that much in his books. It's more like the feeling of their clothes and sometimes their hair color.
Yeah, that's true. And he gives us descriptions, but they're kind of a little bit more vague and generic to leave up to our imagination.
Yeah.
Like he just, Ellen just wears white, like a white suit, but the cut of it and the vibe of it, we don't really get. Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know how much Brandon worked with them on the art and stuff, but in the credits it says initial character designs by Cassandra James.
Okay, so somebody was hired to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been giving Khrissalla a Southern Belle accent because of her
Just because of that hat?
Yeah. And the dress too. Just feels like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see over there more to see if everyone dresses that ridiculous as her and Bale. Fucking white trench coat.
Well, in the prologue, she was wearing a different thing, and she said that the dress she was wearing in the prologue was more modest by Darkside standards, but it was showing off way too much by Dayside.
So it's another excuse to have everyone dress like a hoe place. Sounds good to me.
Oh, or
So it was so her blue dress is more trying to kind of blend in with the Dayside.
Well, she's not doing a very good job.
I wonder at the separation of the two sides so much where they don't know the basics of how the other side
Well,
lives.
there's a giant storm between them, you know? They like have very few people traveling around.
You think at least a couple people get over there and they're like experts on the land, you know?
Yeah, we
Just-
saw the expert in this
That's what I
story.
mean, like, why don't
Also,
we
we've
have better experts? And
Well, their mission is a secret mission, and that the big empire on Darkside, the Dynasty, tries to prohibit anybody from really leaving.
yeah.
All right, we'll go on to chapter 2, which is called Advance. So Kenton is being woken up by Traben, and for a second, Kenton thinks that is Eric talking to him. Traben is Kenton's oldest friend, except for Eric. But Eric had left for Darkside years ago and has never returned.
I didn't know that guy was referenced earlier. I never put that together.
What? I was really wondering
You did?
when he was going to show up. Yeah.
Oh, I was just like, I guess another name of a character I won't remember the name of.
No, it was a big deal. I'll tell you later.
And then Kenton's friends in the DM are Traben, Elorin, and Diren. And Kenton asks about the sixth sphere that he had found and wonders if there has always been a secret sphere on the path. But Traben says that it must be one that had gotten stuck to the sandline from a previous run. And Traben tells Kenton that his father is upset with him because he killed the sandline, which he wasn't supposed to, and now the run is forever ruined. And then almost the entire DM gathers together for an advancement ceremony, where all the people advancing this year are given their ranks and sashes. And Diren tells Kenton that Dryle was caught trying to set up a mercenary group with himself and other Sandmasters.
See, Sheta, what do you mean all this Dryle did nothing wrong stuff?
He's just trying to make a little extra cash. What's wrong with that?
Oh my god.
And being a mercenary is really cool. Like,
Being a mercenary is being scum.
no, they
Did
just
you not read the last fucking book we read, Sheta?
they have so much power in their hands, and they're just gonna sit around and like play in the desert instead of doing
Oh
something
my
with
God.
it.
Instead of killing on another man's order, yeah. Oh.
Maybe killing bad guys. That's
See,
honorable.
You see, the thing with mercenaries
Yeah.
is that
You know what I hate about mercenaries?
They get a bad reputation. Nobody ever thinks that they're trustworthy.
they never think that they're trying to do what they can to help the Sandmasters and the people.
Yeah, they never think that. I wonder why.
All right, and so ceremony's beginning, and the chalice of water is shared between all the Sandmasters to start the ceremony. So this cup goes around, everyone drinks from it. And then the Lord Mastral, who's also called Paxton, he begins handing out ranks to people. And to Dryle, he unadvances Dryle down to DM Fen, which is something that has never happened before. Where was DM Fen in the thing? Let me
It's
look
the
up at
first
this.
one.
It's the third one.
Oh, okay.
Goes under Fen, Fen, DM Fen. So he went from
Okay.
the top to third from the bottom.
Good.
That's so unfair. You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Uh-huh.
If you can't move up, you shouldn't be able to move down.
Uh-huh. Did you miss the trying to set up a mercenary group?
You mean trying to get a job with your skills?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. And Paxton, he says that he doesn't trust Dryle, but he's not going to expel him because he wants to be able to keep an eye on him. And they get to the end, and the last person is Kenton, and his father offers him the rank of Fen, which is the lowest rank. No, second lowest. No, he offered him the lowest one, under Fen. And he tells him that this is the last time he will offer him a rank, and if Kenton doesn't accept it, then he will be expelled. Kenton is about to accept, but then he stops and declines. Paxton tells Kenton just to take the Mastral sash that had been dropped in the ground by Dryle. He tells him that the DM will forever resent him, because they will think that he only got this rank because of his father. He tells him that Kenton will find no peace in this rank. And so Kenton picks it up, and he looks up, and his father has been shot by an arrow.
That was drastic and fast.
Oh no. Yeah.
And then the Sandmasters are under attack by the Khrissalla, which doesn't make sense to Kenton because there has not been a war between Lost Sand and Khrissalla in centuries. And the Khrissalla, they don't have any sort of powers. The Sandmasters fight them, but they have not been in a real battle in so long, and it's pretty much what Kenton had expected. They are sloppy in their fighting. And then Kenton begins just putting together some people of the Sandmasters and organizing them and getting them put into a better position to fight back. But something still feels wrong. Even if they were sloppy, they should be fighting better than this. Kenton, he only uses one ribbon, so he already goes through water a lot slower than everyone else, but he realizes that he is still going through water faster than he normally should be. And the Sandmasters around him are overmastering, which is just using up too much and they're just drying themselves out. And he knows that all these people, they should be able to know how to avoid overmastering. And he finds Traben, who has overmastered and just dried up. Kenton tries to give him water, but it's too late. Traben dies in his arms. As the Sandmasters are being defeated, Paxton screams out and an incredible power flies out from him. And so hundreds of arrows are shot right at him and he dies. And then Kenton passes out. And that's the end of the chapter.
I'm sad. Traben was my favorite up to that point.
The dad was my favorite up to that point.
Yeah.
Well, I think if your favorite wasn't Kenton, Dryle, or Deerin, they died.
Yeah.
Anything else from this chapter either of you two want to go over?
Oh, you didn't say the part where he's like, fine, you can be a maester, you can take that sash.
Yeah, he
Right?
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said that part.
Oh, okay.
He said he took the one that was dropped on the ground.
I see. Okay, never mind then.
All right. So on to chapter 3, Currencies. And we get another Ars Arcanum. And right here we learn a little bit of the history of Dayside. So in the past, the siblings, Losa and Cursed, both claimed to have been visited from the Sand Lord. Cursed claimed that Losa had been cursed, and so he tried to kill her. However, Losa claimed that she had been blessed by the Sand Lord's own power. And this is the main reason for the conflict between Low Sand and Khrissalla. A little bit about religions. The Khrissalla follow Khureen, which is led by the High Priest Akar. The Losandians follow Lasin, and it's more of a philosophy than an actual religion. And every Khureen follower wears a symbol on their forehead to show their Daikin, or like a clan. Only the priests are allowed to scar their symbol on their forehead. And also a note at the bottom says that the sun is the source of all power on Dayside. And the writer of the Ars Arcanum suspects that there is a connection between the sun, sandlings, and their ability to survive without water.
There's the solar-powered theory.
I mean, it wasn't the solar-powered aspect that I was questioning, Sheta.
Oh, okay.
It was the light power gives you light skin.
Well, I was just saying that that the sun, I'm putting in quotes, is not really a sun. It's some kind of power source. So it doesn't tan you. It charges you with solar power or some kind of magic solar power.
Yeah. That reminds me, I really like the part in the beginning when the girl says that this is what a star looks like up close. Like she's not familiar with the sun. I thought that was, but they have stars on the night side. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it, yeah.
And it's weird, actually, that they would know that a sun is a star, actually. Like, a lot of people in more old-timey settings don't know that, so that's interesting.
Yeah. The fact that it's already been classified as a star.
Unless she was just speaking hyperbolically and didn't mean it to. We don't really know.
Yeah. Like, is it scientifically classified or?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it just like, oh, like actually very old-timey and they just call everything shiny a star? Like.
Chapter begins, and Kenton wakes up and pulls him out from under the sand. And he is surrounded by bodies. Just bodies everywhere. And he seems to be the only Sandmaster alive. Then he walks into a tent and passes out. And then we're back to Khrissalla, and it is day 47 of her journey. And they see tents and hope that they can get some water at this area. So they go up to the tents and they arrive, and they're in the same area as Kenton, so they see all of the dead bodies. And then Torth picks up and hands Dask one of the Sandmaster's sashes to see what he knows of it. Dask becomes scared and he rides away on a horse. So Felid pulls out a gun and kills him, thinking that they had been led into a trap.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Innocent little Dask.
Yeah. Also, if you think
And
someone
then-
betrayed you, you should capture them and ask them who sent them, not just shoot them. So yeah, they're bad soldiers.
Yeah,
Shoot the
should have left him to
animal.
die. Yeah, should have left him to die.
Yep, and then Bayon, gets pissed and he throws Felid and takes the gun away from him. Khrissalla, Bayon, Akron, and Cinder head into a tent to take inventory of their supplies they have. Bayon tells Khrissalla that she needs to decide whether they try to make it back to a town or stay here, hoping that someone will come back for the bodies. And then they hear a noise outside, and they go out to look, and they see that Felid and Torth are abandoning them.
Wow.
And then they check out another tent, and they find Kenton inside. Bayon gives him some water, and Kenton says thanks. And Kenton notices that these people are talking in his mother's language, Dynastic. Bayon notes that Kenton can understand what they're saying, and he tells them that they are out of water. And Kenton wonders how they can be out of water if they aren't even in the desert yet. He leads them outside, and he drops some water on the sand, which makes a plant come out of the ground. And then he cuts open the plant, and inside it is filled with water. And the inside the plant is filled with water because it's a survival mechanism. Because then if a sandling bites into it, it will melt their carapace.
Oh, that's funny. This idea that water is hurting these other things. The water thing is so interesting to me. We take it for granted so much. I'm interested to explore the magical aspects of it more, like you were saying earlier, Sheta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that it's not just a power source, but a defense thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's designed really well to help them survive.
Yeah.
Almost like it was created for them.
Well, I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to assume there's God forces in every world we're in.
like a lord of sand would make it for them.
A lord of sand?
Yeah,
That's
they're sand.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Kenton asks for a moment, and they give it to him, and he goes out amongst the bodies. He wonders why Khrissalla had suddenly decided to attack. And he figures that they must have had an accomplice in the DM in order to poison him. He thinks that the only other Sandmaster who wants change as much as him was Dryle. And then Kenton asks to join their group and to be their guide. He also asks why a contingent from Darkside is here, and Khrissalla says that they are searching for sand mages. Kenton doesn't recognize the word mage, but he thinks it sounds similar to what the word for royalty is. Khrissalla says the sand mages rule Lost Sand, so Kenton figures that she must mean the Taishan Council. But he wonders how's the council going to help you? 2 days later, they arrive in a town, and Kenton and Khrissalla, they go into a merchant's tent to sell some jewelry. Yeah, the merchant offers Kenton a low amount, but says he's going to be the only one willing to trade with Kenton. He tells him that now is not a good time to be friends with the Sandmasters.
Can't believe she falls for the old "I'm the only one who will trade with you" routine.
Kenton asks what has changed, and the merchant shows that there are Khrissalla warriors walking around. And Kenton notices the warriors are also priests because their symbols are burned onto their foreheads. And the merchant says that the new Akar had created that group. The merchant tells him that the time of the choosing is soon, and the new Akar may wind up taking over leadership of Khrissalla. And they talk about how a merchant has been the person in charge of that country for the last 200 years, so this could be a big change. The merchant also says that he has seen another group of about a dozen Sandmasters a few days ago. He trades with Kenton because he does not want the Akar to become the leader. As the group is leaving, Kenton shortens Khrissalla's name and calls her Chris. And she says that is what Gavin used to call her.
Ooh.
As
Right.
Kenton asks who Gavin is, a boy tries to pickpocket him, but then his masteral sash falls out and shocks everyone around them. 2 days later, the group is on the road, and Khrissalla explains who Gavin is. Yep, she explains that he was her betrothed, and he came to Dayside to seek the Sand Mages for help, but was killed before he could get help. She says that the Sand Mages have great power, and Kenton begins thinking that maybe she is thinking of the Sand Masters. And then suddenly, the warrior priests pop out from under the sand and attack. Kenton tries to use a Sand Mastery, but he cannot. His powers are gone. And that's the end of the chapter.
Under the damn sand. What a bunch of weirdos. These guys are weird. They don't really give me anything to work with about them. I'm so curious what their deal is going to wind up being. Like, none of them are really characters.
What guys?
The guys who jump out of the sand with all the tattoos and shit on them.
Oh, we got a lot. If you try to put the stuff together, like, they are just warrior priests, and they're like, it seems like they're just part of a priest army to mess shit up and stuff. Well,
I get that, but they don't really talk much. I don't really get to know a lot of them through their own characters, is what I mean.
Because they're not characters. They're just a force.
They're still people.
No, they're not.
They're not people.
I think they're like brainwashed or controlled or something. They're not right.
So?
Like, yeah, they're not normal. Like, even them scarring up their face with a scar X is not normal, and I think that just means, yeah.
They've been infected by ruin?
No, but maybe they're filled with sand and controlled by people. Or
filled
something.
with sand? That's awesome. Now I hope that's true, Sheta. Except I've seen them be cut and blood came out. We're going to see them be cut in 2 seconds.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe the sand returns really quickly to the ground, so you can't tell.
No, I wanted them to be filled with sand like the guy in Hellboy was.
Yeah, that's cool.
That would have been sweet.
All right, so on to chapter 4, which is called Divides. Kenton tries to continue to use powers, but he cannot make a connection. And then Bayonne blows off a man's head with a shotgun, and then shoots another in the chest. And that causes the warriors to retreat.
Yeah. I like for a second he thinks he did some kind of magic. And even I did too. I forgot they had guns at that point.
No, I was like, yes, bust out the guns.
Yeah, hell yeah. These fucking magic guys think they're so good. We've got fucking shotguns.
Shoo, shoo, shoo. Just boom, a shotgun to the face. Like,
uh-huh.
It's too funny.
Yeah, these warrior priests, they were prepared to fight against people who use sand for powers. They were not ready for good old-fashioned lead.
Best part about this story, in my opinion.
Just throwing.
Guy just breaks the rules.
What rules?
The rules of this is a magic universe.
Rules
You
of
don't bring a
engagement.
fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
Hey, we could have had shotguns in Scadrial, but remember, the Lord Ruler specifically kept down the knowledge of gunpowder.
That wouldn't have worked because the metals would have just been like... That wouldn't have been good for some... That could have really fucked him over. That's all I'm saying.
How do you think, like, the allomancy would work with guns?
Well, what does it do against lead?
Plastic guns or something.
Like they take out against Magneto?
Well, just like that. How they have like wooden clubs and stuff. They just have to make wooden guns and bullets. And
wooden
things.
guns. Yep, that'll work when your gun starts on fire after you shoot it. That'll be great.
Kenton realizes that he had overmastered himself, and now his body's burned out, so he can no longer
don't say it like that. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I overmastered myself. I have no more fluids left to work with.
Right. Okay. You don't have to tell us.
What? Yeah, I didn't need to know that. Jesus.
All right. Let's not all be in like 5th grade or 6th grade. I feel like that's when those kind of jokes are popular.
And then Akron asks if this sort of battle happens often, and Cinder tells him to shut up because he himself has been shot in the arm with an arrow. And then Kenton helps him out with getting rid of the arrow. Kenton asks Khriss about Bayonne's weapon, and she says that they've had those weapons for less than a century. Even then, it is mostly an Elis, because the Dynasty tries to keep information like that away from the public. Kenton asks if it uses air pressure, but Khriss says that it is gunpowder.
Khriss just gunpowder, not some kind of made-up word? Like, I was surprised at that.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that.
Yeah, I was like, If a canteen can't be called a canteen, why is it just gunpowder? That's funny.
Chris asks why the Khrissallans were after him, and he tells her to respect his privacy. Later, Chris asks Kenton if they will be attacked again, but he says they won't because of where they are at. Khrissalla nationals believe that so much water in one place is unholy. And the group arrives in Khézer, which is the capital of Lausanne. And we see an image of it, and it has like a large river. There's a lot of green grass and plants growing around it. And Kenton gets Chris's group a ferry and a translator named Natisse. And then he leaves to go on his own business.
Fairy with an E, not an actual fairy that with wings. Because I thought I'd missed something when you said that.
A much different story if all of a sudden there was a little fairy floating around the entire time.
Is a fairy, it's your guide and your translator as well? Like...
Kenton heads to the DM and he walks around the empty building. There's nobody else here, so he thinks that merchant had been wrong about seeing some Sandmaster. And then Darren comes up to Kenton and surprises him. Darren explains that most of the people who had survived the attack were Acolytes, because it seemed like the Khrissalla were just ignoring the Acolytes in their attack. And he says that most of them right now are over at the Hall of Judgment because the Taishan Council is meeting to ratify a new Lord Mastral. Kenton asks who, and Darren tells him that it's Dryle. Darren says that Dryle had kept the survivors together, and Kenton heads over to the Hall of Judgment to stop this. As they're going there, Darren explains that the Khrissallans had mostly ignored the Acolytes, like I had said, and they had somehow seemed to know which sash colors to target. And as he's walking, Kenton can now feel power coming from his sand pouch, and he forms a connection, and his powers have returned. And not only have they returned, he can now control 3 ribbons.
Ooh.
And then Kenton heads inside the Hall of Judgment, and he interrupts Dryle, who is in the middle of talking to the council. And he tells the council that Dryle has no leadership over the DM, and that Kenton is the most senior member. Kenton says that he was made a Mastral right before his father died.
You know how much they don't want Dryle in charge when people don't question that much.
No, he's just as loud and assertive, so that would make sense.
No, but when they're like, oh, your dad made you right before everyone died, and everyone who saw it died. Oh, okay.
He tells the council that he doesn't care if he is made the Lord Mastral or not, but that it should be anyone but Dryle.
Couldn't agree more.
And then High Judge Elis tells him that they were actually meeting to decide if the Sandmasters should be dissolved. And that's the end of the chapter.
That's rude. I already have kind of a pet peeve I wanted to say.
For the story?
Just from the comic that bothers me, and I wish it would have been different. It's when they're speaking in the different languages, and we don't get any indicator except for the characters' reactions. Like, as a person who reads comics, I would have liked some kind of indicator, maybe just even an asterisk or something.
Yeah, translated
or like a
from
different
yada,
font.
right?
Yeah, like a font or something to tell me, like, that this is that language, this is this language, you know? Because I think it would have been really cool to know. Because it's all just English, all normal font, same font. So suddenly a character's just like, what did you say? I didn't understand that. And I was like, why? It's just the same as everything else. Like,
I actually agree with you, Sheta.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool that they have very different languages and dialects and stuff, and I would just like to see that or know that at all and stuff while I'm reading it.
Yeah, that is something that I do agree with as well. Something where even last week I had mentioned that they use like different colored text and stuff, because I thought I had heard that someone would say that was a change they made in the omnibus. I guess I had heard wrong. Like, that would have been so nice, like just a different color like speech bubble for a different language. Like, even do like, say if someone's speaking like Darkside, make it black bubble with white text.
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, I thought of Sandman too when I was like, Sandman is so creative about the text and just to indicate all these things, but that would have been cool.
Hey everybody, this is Future Joe here while editing the episode. And I just wanted to say that while I was reading the next chapters for this comic, I realized that this whole last section that we all just talked about all of us were just plain old wrong. There actually was a difference between the languages and how the text bubbles are. It wasn't until two people started talking that I actually noticed that when they're speaking the Dayside talk, it's the normal text bubbles, and the Darkside talk has a slight blue hint to the bubble, and the text also is a slight blue. But when it's only Darkside by itself, it's kind of hard to see the difference, which is why we were all confused. So, no need to correct us in comments or anything. Just know that all of us, we were all very, very wrong. But I wanted to keep it because I enjoyed the discussion. Alright. Well, let's go on to Chapter 5, which is called Compromises. And with the Ars Arcanum, it pretty much tells us the different, groups of, jobs and stuff which then have members on the Taishan Council. And pretty much you have the Lord Mastral, the High Judge, Lord Merchant, Lord General, Lady Mason, Lord Farmer, Lord Artisan, and the Lord Admiral. And it all goes along with what you think. So, Lord Merchant is, the leader of the merchants. Lord General's leader of the army. Lord Admiral, he's the leader of ships, but it's more like merchant, trading ships. And there's also an unofficial member called the Lord Beggar, who this person has influence among the working class and the poor of Lausanne. But since he's not actually a member of the Taishan Council, he doesn't get a vote. Or show
That was the one I was most interested in, and when we see him, he did not disappoint.
He blew my expectations. Yep. I was like, all right, I guess. All right.
Chapter begins. We're right back where we left off last time. So Kenton asks why the council is trying to dissolve the Sandmasters when they are down, and he is told that the Sandmasters have been nothing but a burden on Lausanne. Kenton says that this will just fracture the remaining Sandmasters into small groups who will then sell their powers to the highest bidder. Vey, the Lord Merchant, says that they should exile the Sandmasters. And Kenton asks them to give the Sandmasters a chance to become better. And the council votes, and everyone except for the Lord Admiral vote to dissolve the Sandmasters. And the Lord Admiral had only voted that way because Vey, the Lord Merchant, had voted to dissolve, so he had to vote against Vey. But Kenton, he had studied law as he grew up, so he demands that these proceedings are declared void. With all the other Mastrals dead, he automatically has become the acting head of the DM. And by law, any Taisha must be given 2 weeks' notice before the council can remove their title. The High Judge says, yeah, you're right. So she tells him that this officially will become his 2 weeks' notice. And in 2 weeks
notice, is that what it is? Like when you're fired from a job?
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you quit.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right.
Yep, and she says that in 2 weeks they will vote again, and that time the vote must be unanimous to keep the DM, otherwise it will be dissolved. And Kenton, he will only be recognized as the acting Lord Mastral, so he will not get a vote. And then back over to Khrissalla's party, and they arrive in Lanzaire, which is a part of the city that has a mixture of both Dayside and Darkside cultures. And she weeps at the man and recognizes him from the scar on his neck. His name is Lotan, and he is traitor to the Dynasty, and... Oh, wait. So when I said earlier, oh yeah, there was a darker... Yeah, never mind. He was Darkside.
Hey, you lied to us.
So his name is Lotan, and he is a traitor to the Dynasty, and he had tried to kill the Emperor himself. And he figures that she wants news on Gevin, but she says she already had heard that he had died, and she has already mourned him. And Lotan says that she hasn't drank her tea yet, which Chris finds weird, and thinks he is trying to warn her of something. Chris figures that Lotan knew Gevin because he called him by that name instead of Givalden. Lotan says that he had met with Gevin before he had been killed by assassins. And Chris thinks he is trying to tell her something with the talk of tea and the assassins. Lotan says that he will assign one of his best people to her and reveals this person to be her translator, Natisse. And now Natisse talks more and she no longer has the accent she had been talking with before. And then a man who is covered in bandages and wearing a cloak enters the room. Honestly, I kind of thought, not exactly, but his look is a little bit like Sleepwalker in Marvel.
Who'd I thought?
Never mind. He's not really. I'm way off.
Yeah, I was trying to imagine how he would look like Sleepwalker.
I was just thinking Hood. And then when I re-looked at it, it's like, never mind. He looks nothing like that.
Yeah, he's all fucked up looking.
Ragman? Would Ragman be close?
Maybe.
I mean, he has like wrappings on his face.
Yeah, I'd say Darkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darkman's good. Darkman doesn't wear a cloak, though.
That is true.
With a trench coat.
So this person that came in with the bandages, his name is Nilto, and he is the Lord Beggar. And Nilto, talking in, the Dayside language, so Chris doesn't understand, he tells Loten to get rid of her. And she wonders if this guy can help her, but, she's told that he just wants her gone. As Chris is leaving, Bayonne then, he sees Loten and pulls out his gun, but Chris stops him. And she thinks about how she had never seen Bayonne so emotional.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus, Bayonne, you've been such a calm, collected guy this whole book.
All right, and then back over to Kenton, and as he's leaving the council area, the High Judge comes to talk to him. She says that she only did what she did earlier because that was lawful, and it was also in the best interest of Losand. But she does tell him that she gave him 2 weeks and a chance. She also tells him that the DM is overloaded with debt. Kenton asks about the tribute, and she says that the guild grew tired of paying it. Kenton heads back to the DM, and he finds Dryle there assigning rooms to people. And Dryle is giving the best rooms to those that he says are the most loyal.
What's your excuse there, Sheta?
I didn't say it was perfect, but
Okay.
I would do the same thing if I'm like, well, I'm in charge. I'm getting the best room, obviously, because I need my
but would
rest.
you say I'll give it to those who are loyal?
Well, you're not going to give it to people who hate you or are going to stab you in the back. Makes sense.
Yes, because most loyal means, yeah. If I'm not the most loyal, I could very potentially stab you in the back, yes.
Well, it's precarious times, Justin. He's got people who don't agree with him.
Kenton tells Dryle he can't do this because he broke DM law and was demoted. Dryle tells Kenton that they both want the same thing, and if Kenton wants to talk to him, then they should do it in the higher up rooms. And then Dryle heads up to the higher rooms. And those higher rooms, they're made for only the strongest Sandmasters go up there, so there's no stairs, there's no ladders or anything like that. After Dryle heads up there, Kenton uses his 3 ribbons and heads on up. And he would not have been able to do this if he still only had control of 1 ribbon. Kenton tells him to leave his father's room. Dryle asks why he should obey a traitor, and he suggests that Kenton was the one that had betrayed the DM. Dryle says that Kenton was so bent on achieving mastership that he even betrayed the DM. But Kenton comes back and accuses Dryle of being the traitor. Dryle says that he wanted nothing but to prepare the DM since the attack. And then Kenton and Dryle attack each other. But Dryle underestimates Kenton and he gets knocked to the ground. Kenton knows that if they fight again, Dryle will not let this happen again. Dryle leaves and Kenton tells him to leave behind the golden master's sash and to take the rooms on the bottom floor. Kenton feels that Dryle is the traitor, but something still feels wrong.
Yeah, that was not cool, I think.
Well, that's interesting because it'll be interesting to see if Dryle is pure evil or if he is not.
Oh, so now you're like, maybe. I think I like this part a lot because I'm like, whoa, Kenton, you were super cool before, and now you're being kind of holier than thou, just like your dad, He was actually pretty nice to Dryle's goons and not even that mean to him, but now he's just full force accusing him of killing everyone and stuff. Yeah, it's a big jump.
He didn't drink from the water.
That's one thing. What other evidence does he have?
The water poisoned everybody.
You don't know that either. We don't know that. It was just one thing he observed. We don't know what made them dry up and be weak and stuff,
I say to be safe, put his head on the chopping block. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, just to be safe.
This isn't a time for half measures.
He could be a valuable ally if you just listen to him. And he will be.
You gotta weigh how likely is he to be a valuable ally to how likely is he the one who killed your father, and just kill him to be safe.
If he does that, Kenton is no longer the hero. He is a bad guy.
I would be very surprised if Kenton did that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from this chapter you want to go over?
I don't think so.
Interesting things that I think too. It's kind of like elitist that those top rooms were like literally unachievable to get to by people who don't have a certain level of power. And Kenton, as an underdog before, wouldn't have been able to do it. And then, like, first chance he gets, he just does it anyway, instead of just finding another way. Like, I think it's interesting to play with those themes of, like, what is better and should you take those opportunities to do that or, humble yourself? I don't know. That's kind of what he's talking about anyway.
All right. So we'll go on to chapter 6, our last chapter for this week. This one's called Challenges. So we're starting off with a new character. We're with Tracked Eyes. And she is searching for Sherazon. And she's in this building searching for him, and she finds a hidden room. And she's with another Tracked. Tracked are like, they're like these like police sort of people. Inside the room, they find Lord Torkel, who has been missing for months. And he says that Sherazon's second in command, Loch Molen, had kidnapped him and his family, and had killed his family. And Eyes thinks about how her associates see her as the pinnacle of control, but inside she just feels rage and anger at stuff. Torkel tells her that Loch Molen had left just moments before she arrived, so she runs out and tries to find him. And then eventually she finds Loch Molen at the portside market, and she gets into a fight with him. And he calls her a Zensha, which means traitor, because she is Kareen, which is, as I said earlier, like the religion of like the Kurtz people, but she is still upholds Lossand law. And in the fight, her anger takes over her, and she hopes that her anger can help her win, but it doesn't, and Loch Molen manages to defeat her. As he is about to kill her, a man walks into the alley. Loch Molen tries to give the man a sword to fight, that way they can have a fair fight, but the man doesn't pick it up. Loch Molen attacks, but the man simply dodges with ease, and then he steps on Loch Molen's toes, which allows Eyes to arrest him. Cut back to Kenton, and he's sitting in his rooms thinking about how he just threw around his power against Dryle, just like how his father used to. And then he hears yelling coming from outside, and he looks out, and he is surprised to see his friend Eric. Kenton uses his ribbons to carry Eric up to his rooms, and Kenton asks why he's here, and Eric says he came to see Kenton. Kenton asks about Eric's father, who is also the Lord General, and Eric says that, yeah, don't you remember? I'd been disowned. Eric says that Kenton seems too somber now, and the two of them need to live it up for the next 2 weeks while Kenton still has power. Back over to Eyes, and she's meeting with the High Judge Elis. And Eyes tells her that they had captured Loch Molen, but he refuses to give them any information on Sherazon. And Eyes thinks about how she is trying to prove that Sherazon and Nilto, the Lord Bigger, are the same person. And Sherazon, I guess, he's like a big underground, like, crime lord. And Elis tells Eyes that she will have to take a 2-week break from hunting Sherazon because she has an assignment for her. She needs to watch over the new Lord Mastral and see what kind of person he is. Eyes is against this because her religion is against the Sandmasters, and she hates the Lord Mastral above all others. But Elis tells her to observe him as a tract, not as a Kirene believer. Eyes heads home, and as she's thinking about her anger, and she tries to control it. But once she arrives home, it subsides when she sees her husband and her daughter. When her daughter goes to sleep, her husband shows her a letter that had arrived from Sherazon, and the letter says, "I enjoy our game, Eyes. You gamble your family. I fear I have little to bet in return." She says that he is only trying to scare her, and that the underground goes after tracks, not after their families.
Man, that's a crazy letter to write off that casually to me. That would freak me out a lot more.
I got the vibe that he sent letters pretty often, though.
Oh, yeah?
Like, they had a kind of correspondence, and this is kind of like a long relationship they've had. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe. Like, oh, he wrote again. Oh, another threat letter. Okay.
Yeah, he's threatening my family all the time.
Oh, you.
Well, we got another letter from Sherazon. Is it another thread? No, this one looks like it was like a drunk text.
Oh, it's a butt dial. I have theories about him, too.
Got another letter. This one's just a pic. It just says eyes, and then it's just a picture of a dick.
Ugh. Her husband got the text.
This one's just a middle finger.
And he's lonely.
Back over to Kenton. Kenton tells Darren and Eric that the days of masteral elitism is over, and ladders will be installed so that way normal people can reach the mastrals. He sees that Dryle is making a statement by having some of his followers wear black cords over their acolyte sashes.
Badass.
And Kenton says that Dryle is a traitor, which Eric finds hard to believe. Kenton explains that the water that all the Sandmasters drank at the beginning of the ceremony was poisoned, and that Dryle did not drink at the ceremony. Eric points out that the bowl of water had to be refilled as it moved along, so that way the poison would have been gone after the first round. And Kenton suggests that maybe only the Mastrals were poisoned. And then we cut back over to Khrissalla, and she wakes up the next morning, and she's going to head out to meet with the different Taisha. And before she leaves, a chest that Cinder is opening suddenly bursts open and throws clothes everywhere. And I put this here because I honestly don't remember if this leads anywhere. If it doesn't, it's a weird couple panels.
It didn't that I'm aware of, so I'm curious to see.
Well, it just led to the lock being broken or something, and then she spends the next couple panels fixing that lock for him. So maybe that's it.
I'm also curious how packed, how you could get so much stuff into this.
I thought it was going to be somebody set a spring trap up. I was surprised when they were just like, "Oh, packed it too hard."
Because even when I packed a suitcase tight, I've never opened it and just had all the clothes just fly everywhere.
Yeah, it's a special spring-loaded suitcase, maybe.
But yeah, I just found those couple 3 panels. As I said, I don't remember if this leads anywhere. I only read this story once a while ago. But if it doesn't, those panels are just opening and everything flying around are just so weird and just feel out of place. Like maybe it's supposed to be like a sight gag thing. And then Chris, Bayonne, and the T's leave and try to meet with all the different Taisha. And we get like a one big panel for each, and none of them will meet with her. Some it's just like, oh yeah, they're out of town. Other ones like, yeah, you can sign up. They'll be able to meet with you in like a month. So after they try and fail with everyone, Natisse says that there is still one more, the Lord Mastral. But she says that he's new and likely won't have his position for much longer. Chris still agrees to go meet with him. She thinks, he's new, so he might be more willing to help them out. And so they arrive at the DM, and she is shocked to find that the Lord Mastral is Kenton.
I was too. I totally forgot they met. And I was like, I thought it was really funny.
You forgot they met?
I forgot they met, and I thought I was like, oh, cool, our characters are going to get to meet. I forgot they spent all this time together. Oh, man.
Yeah, she accuses him of lying, but he tells her that the position is new. And then he leaves because he just doesn't want to be scolded by her. And he floats up into the air with his ribbons. And Chris is shocked, and Bayonne says, well, looks like we found her sand mages. And that's the end of part 1.
Yay.
So one thing to think of here is keep in mind, when these were originally released as volumes, that's the end of volume 1. I think there was like a 1-year gap between the two.
They just did graphic novels, right? They didn't do issues?
Yeah, it was just graphic novels.
Okay. Cool.
Actually, it was like a year and a half, almost 2-year time difference between the volume 1 and 2. So that would have been your cliffhanger for about 2 years.
Oh.
All right. Anything else you two want to talk about with this chapter?
I think it's really interesting that in the past books that we've read, there's been some things where like we see, we meet a character in a book, and then it ends up being another character that we know, but because we didn't see them, we couldn't guess it was them, they just like were going under like a different name or something. And I wonder, like in here, when we see Eric for the first time as Eric, we know that he was the guy who helped out the cop lady,
Well, he also says that his name's Eric when he meets her too.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, after he steps on the guy's toe, it's like he says, Eric's first rule of combat, always go for the toes.
Oh, I thought he was just saying. I didn't know he was saying he's Eric. I thought maybe his teacher was Eric or something. I guess I didn't take it like that. I guess most people don't talk about themselves in the third person. Like,
All right, well, if you two have nothing else to discuss, then we can go over to the theories and predictions segment.
ooh, okay.
With a comic, it's harder to come up with questions, especially since it's only 3. Since we only have 3 weeks, so I don't want to be too leading with the questions. So you know what? I'll just let you guys just throw out any sort of theories or stuff you want to throw out.
I guess my first theory is that Eric is the beggar lord.
Really? Wow.
I didn't.
That's a pretty big theory, Sheta.
I thought that I would really like him when he showed up to help the girl, you know. But then when he was talking to, our main guy, Colin, or our Lord Maester guy, you know, I did
Kenton?
not like him. Yeah, Kenton. Yeah, when he was talking to Kenton, I did not like him. So I think he might be either the Lord Beggar and the girl, the character, the big bad underground guy that the cop girl's looking for too. Like her theory is that, yeah, her theory is that they're the same person, and I didn't really believe that theory, but I believe maybe they're friends, and maybe that Eric is Sheridan or the Lord Beggar.
So you think he's one of those two?
Yeah, I think it's more likely that he's Sheridan. The fact that he was there to kind of rescue her, and the fact that he wrote a note that was kind of like, kind of charismatic. It felt like his character because he's kind of like, he talks like that. So I think he's Sheridan. Maybe we'll meet the Lord Beggar later, but yeah. Unless once we learn more about him, he might be that guy too. So he acts like a beggar. That's why too. Just comes in, wins dinner.
I like that theory. I don't know that I believe it, but I like it.
Okay. Do you have any theories, Justin?
Not really. There's not like that much to work with. I don't know if I have a single theory, if I'm being honest.
What?
Well, here, I have a question for Sheta, because Sheta, you're saying that you don't think that Dryle poisoned the water, so if you don't think that, then who did?
I think whoever is in charge, well, it's got to be someone bigger. So whoever's in charge of like we haven't even met anyone from that Dynasty kingdom, you know? So we don't I just assumed it was someone from there who's a big enemy and stuff.
But how would they poison the water?
Well, they would have sent out some kind of this is kind of out of nowhere, but I think they have some kind of a pact with the church people to kind of make an army for them to fight like in the land, because they would know the land more. So they have some kind of sand power that we don't know about yet, and I think they like poison the sand or something like that to make it so that it like super drains them instead of normal sand.
I like it.
Any other theories or predictions?
I wonder if Khrissalla's betrothed is actually dead, and if he was killed by one of the characters we've met already, if he is dead. Like, I guess it kind of hinted that one guy killed them, or the guy that actually met her fiance.
Lowton?
Yeah, Lowton. Maybe Lowton is man, it's hard to do it without remembering the names. It sounds stupid.
You're saying that Lowton is Sherazon?
Yes, that he is Sherazon.
He is Sherazon, then Eric would be the Nilto, the Lord Bigger.
Yep. If Eric had killed her fiance, that would be sad. I would be really mad.
Anything else?
My only theory is that this is a world with a separate but equal racist god. I think that would be fascinating to learn. It was somebody like Sazed who ascended to godhood, but instead of being a good man who wanted to help the people, it was just an overt racist.
Well, why? Why do that?
I don't know. I don't know how Ruin came to be either. But that would be that would be a fascinatingly stupid twist.
Did they say where the Dynasty people came from? Like, what side are they on?
Dynasty is Darkside.
Darkside.
Yeah, that's like the big empire on the dark side, and then Chris's smaller country, Elis, has managed to not be taken over by it.
Okay.
And then Dayside, it's... Well, at the beginning of the comic, we got a little map of Dayside. Pretty much like, most of the land is Khrissalla. Losand is smaller, but it's there, and then looks like there's 3 other areas called Denka, Sevis, and Talon.
Okay.
But the 2 main ones that we've seen are Losand and Khrissalla.
I wonder if the dark side is not just returning to its normal state, like ruled by an empire, you know, like evil versus good or something. Too many new elements. I wonder how they will wrap this up in just 2 more volumes.
All right. Well, then let's move over to our characters of the week.
Well, like I said, my favorite character died. I liked Traben. I thought he was going to be like a cool friend character, and he was. But then he died all sadly in our main character's arms. I literally shouted out like, "No, Traben!" Like,
Well, at least he managed to make an impact in just the couple chapters he got.
yeah, that's true. He did a lot. He was really cool.
Justin,
And
do you have a character?
Give me a sec, sorry.
All right.
I do also
right.
like. Oh,
Yeah, I wanted to hear. I didn't hear who your character was, Sheta. My thing cut out.
I said Traben was my favorite of the good guy friends, but I did also like Dryle.
You mean the asshole?
I mean, the only strong one in the whole comic.
Oh, God.
So, Sheta, which one do you want me to put as your official vote?
How about the one who's a real character?
Yeah, no. Since Traben is dead, I'll pick Dryle.
Now, mine's bad because I lost the name even though you just said it, but it's the super by the book woman who's secretly super pissed off on the inside. That was my favorite.
Oh, the cop girl?
Eyes?
Yeah, Eyes.
Yeah. Cop girl, yep.
She was hilarious. I liked her a lot too.
Yeah, she's great.
For me, just seeing the name and like reading it, it's always so awkward because her name's Eyes, and when I hear that name, I just keep thinking of Eyes Wallenstein from Dan Machi. Or is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? She's like one of like the main female characters in there. All right. My character this week, I was going to go with Khrissalla. I liked her in there coming over to Dayside, trying to figure stuff out and being very inquisitive, always asking questions about stuff and everything. And her reactions to stuff have been funny too. Going with her, but a close second was Bayonne. All right, and then this week we were not going to do quotes of the week because with the comic, this is so much harder to get quotes from, and literally none of us had come up with one when we talked earlier. Okay, all right, and then I'm just gonna go over just a couple comments, and then we'll be done.
We're not going to do a ship prediction?
What
What
the
the fuck
hell
do you
is
mean
wrong
it-
with you?
That is not a segment. What do you mean a ship prediction?
Our classic ship prediction segment. I really want Dryle to have a romance with one of our characters. But
Do you have a pick for him?
I hope it's the cop lady. I hope
She's
they have a
married with a
thing.
kid.
Oh, you're right. Well, She
So
doesn't
she
seem
gets
like
a
the
side
type.
piece?
yeah, maybe a little back and forth kind of thing, flirting. Just with her uptightness and her hatred of sand mastery, he's gonna rub it in her face, and she's gonna be like, "I can't believe
my
you."
God. Oh my God. Well, I have no ship predictions, so.
Well, this is not a segment, so I'm not gonna participate. So with the comments then, we'll start off with our Warbreaker, chapter 54 through the epilogue. First comment from Adelgate. Beginning of the episode, Justin rapping. End of episode.
Oh, God.
Talking about how next episode will begin with everyone rapping with a W. It really came full circle.
Oh my goodness. You rapped?
Not all of that. I guess I did.
If I had to pick a character of the week out of this podcast, the three would be pretty even. But for sure, my character of the week this week is Justin.
Well, is that just because of the rapping that I don't even remember doing?
I
then
kind of remember that. It
Was it good?
I was pretty
No,
surprised. You
I
went
don't
all the way
remember
with it, though.
I don't remember it, but I can just tell you it will be bad.
You got character of the week for it, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
Joe. Maybe if you rapped more often, you would win character of the week. Which apparently is a contest I didn't know we were fighting for.
All right, next comment from Reader Warrior. Favorite romance anime? Probably Basic of Me, but Your Lie in April. And then there's this one about Cerberus. That was pretty good. Overrated live action show is probably going to be Grey's Anatomy and The Crown.
They haven't watched either. So you ain't offending me.
Dang.
I watched season 1 of The Crown. I liked it.
I wanted to
Wow,
watch The
Joe,
Crown because
you only like overrated things.
my Serini casting is in The Crown. So.
My Bluefinger's casting is in The Crown.
Oh.
Because John Lithgow plays Winston Churchill. All right. Chapter 54. A quote. If a woman isn't a love interest, I don't like them. Sheta.
What?
Did Sheta say that?
What? No,
And
that
then
doesn't sound like me.
Another quote. If a man
It sounds like
isn't
you some weeks, Sheta.
And then another quote. If a man isn't a POV character, they're untrustworthy. Also Sheta.
What the? I don't remember any of this. And yet, it does sound somewhat like something she'd say.
Well, yeah, you can't get in their head. That's that. My reasoning for that one. But the love interest one, well, it's just because there's just so much potential. And if they're a single lady, I want them to be shipped with somebody. But I guess even if they're married, I want them to be shipped with somebody. So that doesn't
Apparently
count.
so, yeah.
All right, and then chapter 58. I freaking love the rooftop scene. Look at how the sisters have evolved and grown since the start. Ciri, now composed and acting like a queen, with her emotions and actions in check. And Vivenna, whose hair changed immediately when she saw her sister and ran forward to hug her. It's a perfect demonstration of how they've changed.
I'd agree.
Oh, yeah, that was nice.
All right, and then from the epilogue. Brandon has the best roll credits bit here, where the movie can end with, Vivenna saying, "What was your first name then?" Vasher looks into the sunset with soldiers marching back on the horizon. Tita card appears as he opens his mouth.
Oh my gosh. That just reminds me of the fantastic ending.
No, it's more like the ending of... That's bad, but it's more like the ending of Avengers 2.
Oh, yeah.
I think they both came out like the same year.
Yeah, well, one of them did it better than the other. That's what I can tell you.
And then he says, because I think I mentioned it talking about White Sand. Colors, that stupid boombox is such a Cosmere meme now. If you want to see it, there's the image.
I want to see. What the fuck? That's where the boombox is?
Wait, what? Where? Oh.
Okay,
It looks like a fucking computer. What the hell is that? Why would that be there?
I need to find this actual... Looking at the actual image, that spot's just empty. There's no boombox, there's no lantern floating above it like that. It's just gone.
What in the name of God?
Well, I could see it being like some kind of like life monitor. Like
there was nothing like that in the story.
They don't have that technology.
Right. That's true. That's funny.
It's like I just want to know how like the colorist would get to this spot. How they thought that put this thing in there.
Must have had a long day.
Yeah.
Just doing flats. And it's like, all right, what is this? Some kind of boombox? I don't know. I'll just make it gray, I guess.
And next comment from Alcald946. Another novel down. Thank you all for your insights and theories. This show always brightened my day.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yay!
White Sand is the only Cosmere story I haven't read yet, apart from the Kickstarter novel. I snagged a PDF copy of the omnibus, and I'm greatly looking forward to following along at the same pace as you all. I honestly don't know if I'll have the patience for it, but I'll try my best not to read ahead.
It's a lot harder to not read ahead in a friggin' comic. It's sitting right there.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that for this entire thing. I hate going at this pace.
Yeah, I'll ask you, because I didn't ask you guys earlier. With this, since this would be the end of like the first graphic novel, the first volume, do you like where it ended? Do you think that was a good ending? Did it make you want more? Or did you think it was weird?
Fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I think if you really wanted to make sure people were going to read more, I would have done a different ending. But since I'm not buying this every month at the comic shop, or waiting months for a volume 2, I really can't complain. But if you were reading this, I could see that being like, that's not as exciting as some of the other cliffhangers we were left on. Like in a few months, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you what it was that the cliffhanger was, which is never good.
Yeah, and I realized my question may have sounded off. I was coming up with the question as I was saying it out loud.
I get the vibe. It sounded a little weird, but I do get the vibe you were asking about.
And Sheta, how'd you feel about the ending for that volume?
Well, like I said, I was all like surprised because I forgot they had met already. So I'm stupid.
Oh yeah, it was a huge twist for you.
I was like, oh yeah. But it was funny. I thought I liked it. I thought it was. They got me with the like meeting everybody over and having no one be able to meet her. Yeah, and then having it just be him is funny.
All right, and now we have 2 comments for the Warbreaker wrap-up episode. From Adel8. I would like to see/hear Peter Dinklage as Nightblood. I think it would be fun.
Yeah, you could do it.
I may be too crazy, but I would like Johnny Depp for Denth.
Ooh, that's
that
good.
Would be funny because you would never expect what happens with that. However, good luck affording them.
Yeah, like my casting worried about that.
Mine always does. I always factor in how much money do I have left in this cast.
Yeah, you're always the one budgeting.
Yeah.
All right. I may be influenced by Guardians of the Galaxy, but I imagine Dave Bautista could play Tonk Fa well.
Yeah. Man, Dave Bautista and fucking Johnny Depp, I would never see that twist coming.
Yeah, they're so likable. That would be a horrifying twist, though. Don't make him be Tonk Fa. I would hate it. I would walk out of the
theater. But he'd do it so fucking good. He'd be so disturbing and scary.
It would be too creepy. Kids are gonna cry. I'll cry. I'll get out of there. Like, no.
And I'll have to say, Dave Bautista has been so much better as an actor than I ever thought he'd be.
Yeah, he's great. I wouldn't have expected it.
Because I'm a wrestling fan, so I, watched him wrestling for years and years. And then when he was going into acting, being like, all right, yeah, he's gonna play, Drax. All right, cool. But then he started doing like other roles too and stuff. It's like, he's really good.
Yeah, he is.
So did you see him in Smallville then first?
Yeah, I saw him in Smallville.
Not a role that would have made me expect he was going to be that great.
But his role in Smallville was like a weird like side thing in that episode. It's not like when Kane was in Smallville, where the end of the cold open was Kane standing there ready to fight.
Yeah, that was fucking badass.
All right, and then the Reader Warrior comment from the Warbreaker wrap-up episode. All right, he just goes into hemalurgy is a special magic system where in order to gain power, it rips like a person's connection to magic. It tears what is, kind of like their magical DNA and attaches it to another person with a spike. Breath and the transference of the magic, it's not like that. If hemalurgy is physically taking someone's ice cream scoop from their cone because you want their sprinkles, then giving breath is carefully removing the sprinkles. The ice cream, soul, is not affected. The tearing of one's magical DNA is what leads to the Koloss accumulating intelligence/cognition over time due to the reuse of spikes. So the transference of breath would not lead to swappage or sharing of personalities or souls. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, says you. I don't fucking trust it. This shit's creepy, man.
Well, now I just want ice cream, though.
I'm never giving up my breath. That's all I'm saying.
I feel that same way. Nope.
Favorite character? I was going to vote for the Awakened Squirrel, but it wasn't an option.
So close, man.
I wish you would have gotten a little name. That would be cute.
And then for our casting segment, the photos actually really help visually. Thank you so much for doing them.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm usually pretty silent for these because I don't really like to argue against someone's opinion, but I do have to say, The Rock's ego could never handle being Tonk Fa.
That is true.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe
100%.
the new cowed post-Black Adam Rock, but...
No way. He's going to be offended. He might just punch me for even suggesting it.
I don't
Will
think
you
he
be
would
this,
punch you.
Simpleton henchman character who ends up being evil?
All right. Well, that's all our comments and stuff to go over. So I guess we'll just... So for next week, everyone, if you're reading along, we're going to read what is pretty much just Volume 2, which is chapters 7 through 12. Yep, 7 through 12 for next week. And so now let's go into plugs.
You can find me on Profanity Beaver on Instagram or DeviantArt, or I sometimes am on Twitter too. Do that, and then, yeah, your life will be complete.
That's a big promise. Ugh. I don't want to say mine because I haven't posted in so long, so I'm just going to skip until I post again.
Oh, no. Because people keep going there and being like, where is everything?
I have gotten so many new followers, and I feel so bad because I have nothing new to offer you. So I'm really sorry. I'll just say that I will try to post something new before the next episode. Before I keep telling people to follow me. Like, check it out.
All right. And then for the Cosmic Chronicles podcast, you can follow us. Links are for different things should be in the description. If you want to send us an email, cosmicchronicles@gmail.com. And I had said before, but after we finish Emperor's Soul and before we go into Way of Kings, if you want, we're going to do an episode where we go over our overall thoughts in the Cosmere so far, and then a bunch of rankings. So if you want to join in that fun, go ahead. Just put your rankings of ships, fathers, the books. Sheta had told us to do it, so we're doing, your top 5 hottest characters.
Oh, God.
And, and then we're also going to do, like, just your overall top 10 favorite characters, like your top, top like 5 or 10 like favorite moments, ranking like the magic systems, ranking the villains, all sorts of that. If you want to join in the conversation, you can email it cosmicchronicles@gmail.com, and I'll read them on the podcast when we go through ours. All right, and yep, and if I forgot a part of a plug, then yeah, but yeah, that's it for this episode. Come back next week to listen to the next episode. In the meantime, maybe go out. If you've never watched the show Arrested Development, go watch it.
But don't finish it.
But and when you get to season 4, if you're watching on Netflix, don't watch the season 4 they have listed there, because that's a re-edited version that they did a couple years later, and it messes it up.
Yeah,
go down to the trailers section on Netflix, and it will have the original versions of the episodes.
And feel free to watch half of season 5. Do not watch the second half under any any circumstance. Just leave. It's better to be unfinished.
All right. So yeah, that's it, everyone. See ya. Bye-bye.
Adieu.
Ta-ta.